Do you know what happens when a Toyota Sequoia going 100 kilometers per hour and a Porsche Boxster GTS going 100 kilometers per hour crash into each other? A Ford Ranger Raptor is born. My Ford Ranger Raptor is born. Yes, I put it in the garage. I signed the big check for the Raptor the right way, right? Sahara orange to match the orange details on the interior, but jokes aside, it's tough. I bet you won't find another car that on the spider chart of needs does so many things so well in Brazil as the Ranger Raptor. The people from Car and Driver, the leading automotive magazine in the United States. Michigan is also where Ford is based. It's a state where it snows a lot. So a lot of expansion and contraction, very hot summers, very cold winters. The asphalt is really bad. There are a lot of expansion joints. There are a lot of potholes because of the weather. And the people at the American Car and Driver nicknamed the Raptor the Michigan Miata. It's the Miata of Michigan, right? Because it's a car that behaves like a sports car, but you can use it every day without that worry. In the original launch video of the Raptor, long before I ever thought about having one, in fact, after I drove it for the first time, I started thinking about having one. I said, this is the Civic Type R that's actually possible in Brazil, right? Because it's really a sports car that you can drive without always being worried. If you're going to hit a wheel on the corner and bend a rim or puncture a tire, honestly, you can just put your foot down and you don't really need to worry about much. I say almost because some things like fuel consumption still need a little attention. We'll discuss that soon. After all, where's the magic? Because you look at these big 285/70 R17 tires here and think, wow, this is gonna roll like crazy, right? Actually, the magic of the Raptor is in the suspension, right? The Fox Race suspension. Developed? You guys recently saw us speeding with Carlos Sainz, the Ford Raptor T1 from Dakar, from the W2 RC World Championship, also uses Fox Race shock absorbers. And then, here at the rear, you see the little orange bushings there. It becomes even more clear, right? The truly magical work that Ford does with the suspension. Of course, the tire itself, the size of the tire helps a lot to smooth out the bumps, but the suspension, with a very long travel and very fast shock absorbers, especially on the rebound, right? They're also firm, preventing it from rolling in corners, which is spectacular. Speaking of a truly usable sports car in Brazil, you can see here the dual exhaust, right? We're talking about the 3.0 V6 with 397 horsepower and 59 kilogram-meters of torque. You can call it 400 horsepower and 60 kilogram-meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds, by far the fastest pickup truck in Brazil. And then those wonders of a mid-size pickup, right? For the guy who's a family man who likes to go out on the weekends, the bike fits here with room to spare, without having to take off the wheel, without having to put a bed cover on here. It already comes with the original factory cover, right? This one, I bought it used with a year on it, right? So I paid way less than the list price, which today is close to 500 grand. And you see here, it also works really well as a family car, right? The mid-size pickup. Noah's car seat goes here. We're definitely going to put some kind of cover on soon. I haven't decided yet if I'll go with the soft one or the hard one, right? The hard cover takes up a little bit of space here, but I think even losing this little bit of space, I can still fit the bike without having to change anything. Yeah, I'm also debating with myself whether I should put on the roll bar or not. And it's an absolutely lovable car for daily use, right? If you want to see a Raptor in daily use, I recommend following you-know-who, Daniel Ricciardo, right? Who became not only an ambassador for Ford Racing, but specifically for the Raptor line. I'm here paying tribute to Danny Rick with the Enchanté t-shirt, right? It's a special collection that Ford Racing made with Enchanté. Enchanté is the clothing brand that Ricciardo launched back when he was still in Formula One. And nowadays, running this business day to day, smiling a lot, and giving funny interviews seem to be his main duties, besides drifting the Raptor hard on dirt. Life is tough for Danny Rick. I also like the black Ford logo here, with the Raptor looking intimidating. The little stickers also really add to the look for me. But let's take a look at the interior to show a few more reasons why this car made it into my garage. Getting inside, I missed having a truly modern car for daily use, Not exactly a brand new car, right? It's just over 15,000 kilometers now. I bought it when it already had 13,600. We've driven a lot. I even did a round trip to Itaipava. We rode bikes there. But hey, let me wake up the V6 here. CarPlay, right? Wireless with a big screen. Digital air conditioning with seat cooling here, which is really useful in Itaipava. It cools your seat. You need to go for the F150 Raptor. Wireless charger, really well done finish, right? High quality materials here. The leather, the perforated leather here, to me is a very classic Ford racing thing, right? Here the center gauge too, another very racing item. The seats are really good. We're talking about the 10-speed transmission here, which is the same transmission as the Mustang, but it doesn't have the same fuel consumption as the Mustang. No. Look, let me show you here. Yeah, it's real television, right? Look at our average fuel consumption, 6.4, right? I went with the Mustang Mach-1 on my end-of-year holiday trips to Porto Alegre, right? Every summer, you've seen it already, several times, right? We always show this in a vlog. We take this trip that starts in São Paulo, goes through the coast of Rio Grande do Sul, goes to Porto Alegre, sometimes to São Gabriel, to Roque Gonzalez. It's about 4,000 kilometers. So the Mustang going all the way to Porto Alegre during vacation, cruising on the highway at about 120, it would do about 10 kilometers per liter, right? Then you learn a bit about physics, right? How does a V8 Mustang manage to do 10 kilometers per liter, even having more power than the Raptor here? It does have cylinder deactivation, right? That helps, but it's an aerodynamic car, naturally aspirated 4x2 without mud tires, right? Add in all the friction from the mud tires, the four-wheel drive, the twin-turbo engine, and the aerodynamics of a pickup truck. You can't get over 6 kilometers per liter, guys. On the road there, Serra de Itaipava, look, I was getting 5.7, 5.6. So if you're in love with the Raptor, know that you're going to spend a lot at the gas station. But I'll tell you, it's worth every penny because this car is pure fun. The drive modes in the F150 Raptor are here on the dashboard, right? In the Ranger Raptor, they're here on the console. You also have these big pedals here, which are really useful for you, for example, when you're driving more aggressively on a mountain road. But look, we have the normal mode, we have the sport mode, we have the slippery mode, we have the mud and dirt mode, we have the sand mode, and the Baja mode, which theoretically isn't supposed to be used on public roads, right? Which already puts the traction in 4x4 high. That's really cool, right? Every drive mode already makes changes, not just on the cluster, as you can see there, but even with the cameras and also with the traction, right? We have AWD, which is on-demand traction on the front axle. We have 4x4 high-low range and rear-wheel drive only. But what's really cool, all of this that you're seeing here, right? The rock crawl mode, I'll leave it here in sport mode, for example. I've already had the car for a few weeks and I've already set it up, right? I press the Raptor button here, boom, twice, and it goes to the whole setup just the way I want to use it every day, right? So it switches the steering to comfort mode. You see the little C there, which means it's light, because maneuvering these big tires every day, the steering wheel ends up getting really heavy. But there's the comfort mode, so you can make the steering wheel lighter. Suspension in normal mode, right? So it doesn't get stiffer for everyday use. And the exhaust, of course, in sport mode. Baja mode is only for off-road use, right? Only off-road. Inside the car, there's silent mode, so you don't disturb neighbors in the morning, plus normal, sport, and Baja modes. Inside the car, the sport and Baja modes are identical. But outside, guys, I was riding my bike in Itaí and my instructor, shout out to Ralph, his bike broke. It's 5.5 kilometers from the farm where my sister lives. When I left the farm and got onto the road, I must have been about 3.5 kilometers away. He said, I could hear you from there. So that was the first acceleration, right? Baja mode lets people know you're coming. Look, Here's a little something for you. It's a well-finished car with quality materials. The nighttime lighting, which you can't see now, appears orange on the doors and dashboard at night. I think the orange details with the orange car end up matching really well. Sound system by Bang & Olufsen. Anyway, it's a car that's close to 500,000 raised brand new today, but it really delivers a lot for what it costs. So let's do the following. Let me show you a little bit of real-world dynamic use for you guys of the kind of sporty driving that's possible in Brazil. And then we'll come back here for our final conclusions. So here's the deal, you crazy kids. Get comfortable. We don't have big chests here, right? There's no diet or workout enough in the world of mid-sized pickups usually. Let's have a little fun because you only live once, right? I'm going to put it in Baja mode here. But I'll put it... No. 4x2? I'll turn off the control of traction and stability. And Joselito, I got a little nervous, right? For you guys to enjoy. It got a little dirty over there on Duranes. Now we're diving into blind flight and we're going to enjoy this big guy for a bit, right? Yeah, look, those who follow the channel saw us driving the F-150 Raptor on the same W2RC trail in San Juan, Argentina, right? It's impressive how in bar mode the car feels alive in your hands. The steering wheel gets quick and direct electric steering, right? But Matt, who's a great American guy we met there, he's the director of off-road communications at Ford Racing. He said the phrase that summed up the trip, right? The only thing cooler, is that it's a lot of power, right? 4x4x minus 2 on a surface like this is for the experienced, right? It's going to scare anyone who's not ready. But he says the only thing cooler than flooring a Raptor off-road is flooring somebody else's Raptor, right? Somebody else's Raptor, in this case, the press Raptor, right? That we were able to use. Look, if you just tap it here, the rear already comes around. The Baja mode is amazing. Yeah, it's flooring someone else's Raptor, right? So there we really pushed the F-150 to the limit. But the Ranger, right? When you get out of the F-150 and into the Ranger Raptor, it feels like you got into a compact hatchback because look, it still loses traction on asphalt, right? Yeah, because it's 20 centimeters less. Look how the Baja mode holds the gears up high. It's 20 centimeters narrower, right? That makes a big difference on a trail like that one. I turned the wrong way. Because one of the things we mentioned is that, yeah, you have to refuel a lot, right? So hold on, I'll turn around so we can go to the gas station. Do it like this, look. So time it from 0 to 100 then. Doing a little burnout. The roar is just beautiful, isn't it? So like I was saying, right? Look, when you get to a mountain road on the asphalt, how? I'll only drive in Baja mode with traction on 4x4x-2 from now on. It's awesome. Yeah, but it's not a car that can't handle it, right? You can actually get real sports car performance. Of course, keeping things in proper perspective. You're not going to mistake it for a Boxster on a road like this, but I can also guarantee you won't mistake it for a regular pickup. Not even a regular Ranger, right? Because the Ranger is far better than other mid-sized trucks, right? Especially regarding road handling these days. But it's impressive how it can take a beating on a mountain road. And you can carry speed, right, in a way that your brain just can't process, right? That a pickup truck is doing this. And the difference compared to the F-150 is huge. It's so much more playful, right? First of all, you can just ignore speed bumps. But how much more agile is the Ranger Raptor in your hands compared to the F-150 Raptor, which is also awesome, a sensational beast, right? The F-150 stands out even more because it has a longer wheelbase, right? And the wider track. It handles the bumps in the road more smoothly, let's say, right? But how much more agile, how much more in control, how much more comfortable do you feel? For me, compared to the F-150, the Ranger Raptor is the one. There's no doubt about which one is the coolest and the most fun, right? If you have any doubts, right? For example, if you need space in the back seat, there's no doubt that the F-150 will suit you better. But will we have the F-150 Raptor in Brazil? Officially, we still don't have that answer. But we have some good guesses about the future of the Raptor lineup in Brazil, because the Raptor has become one of the brand's flagships. Let's not call it here at the pedals. One of the flagships of Ford Racing, right? Which is one of the big flagships, one of the big differentiators of Ford, right, nowadays. In the global market and in Brazil, the gearbox responds very quickly. Look, I'll downshift at the speed bump so you can see. Wow, I was looking at the gears, got distracted, took my eyes off the speedometer, and I was already at 120. It's a car that gains speed very quickly. Look how well it takes the downshifts. So there's no doubt that the Raptor line in Brazil will keep expanding. Because it's really one of their big aces up their sleeve. It's one of Ford's main advantages in the national market, especially now that Ford is increasingly positioned as a brand for car enthusiasts, right? For premium cars, for high-performance cars. Like this beauty right here, my God. I confess I hadn't really pushed it like this on the asphalt yet, right? I had only pushed, oops, watch the brakes, need to find the grip. I had only pushed it like this in somebody else's Raptor. I hadn't pushed it like this in my own Raptor yet, and it's really cool. It's so cool to have as a daily a car that's able to put a silly smile on your face like this so quickly. Power! Look at how it eats up the mountain road as if it were a sports car and not a 2,400 kilo pickup truck. What an exceptional machine. There's no other word for it. It's outstanding. You saw it, right? It's already screaming there. The range. It was at 66, it's already dropped to 37. Good thing we have Posteco here along the way. Power! Intimidating, right? You see a big guy like that growing in your rearview mirror. Even Brazilians who don't know how to stay in the right lane. Wake up and let them pass. But let's do the following. Bam, bam. Let's talk to our friends over there at the gas station and move on to our final conclusions. Final conclusions are also final confessions. How did Raptor come into my life? I'll explain. I'll confess to you. One fine day, a follower sent me a DM asking if I wanted to sell the Sequoia. I said, no, I don't want to sell it. I'm very satisfied with the Sequoia, right? 7 seats. Fits everything. Actually, the Sequoia has 8 seats, right? Yeah, but he insisted and I named my price. It was the kind of price you quote when you don't really want to sell, but he agreed to pay cash, so I sold it. So, automatically I started needing a gas-powered car that would also let me travel on a daily basis, right? Yeah, a Porsche Boxster GTS isn't really for a family man. That's how the Raptor came into my life. But it came to replace the Porsche, right? Because I really don't think it makes sense. I still have the Porsche though. The insurance and this year's vehicle tax are both paid. But in the second half of the year, if you're searching for the best Porsche Boxster GTS in Brazil, watch the exclusive car profiles. That's where it'll appear. De carros exclusivos que ele vai aparecer. Soon. I'm very satisfied with the Raptor. Raptor for daily use. I'm getting a bit old too, right? This thing about having too many cars gets tiring. There's always something to do. And the way the Raptor, it checks so many boxes, right? And it's so usable in so many aspects of daily life. It's really delightful that you can enchant. Encantador você poder acelerar and enjoy all this performance. But also regarding the unexpected things that are so common in Brazil and seeing dirt roads, mud, the earth, potholes, rocks. In short, it's really about cars. It handles everything you put in. Grandpa's little seat and all the family's stuff, the stroller and everything else inside. And you hit the road without worrying, just having to adjust the fuel budget a little for the trip. So did you like it? What do you think I should do now? Should I put the canvas cover on the truck bed, install the hard bed cover, add the roll bar, or maybe get a little tune? What do you think? It'll increase the power even more, but it'll also increase the fuel consumption. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, as always. Thanks a lot, enjoy it, big hug, and wait, there's gonna be a little bonus video here. Look, I'm also gonna talk about my birthday present. This Track Trek Checkpoint Gravel was really worth it. Enjoy it and big hug.